association with matter from time immemorial. Our consciousness is now polluted by material atmosphere. In this polluted concept of life, we are all trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in our complexities. This illusion is called Maya, our hard struggle for existence, for winning over the stringent laws of material nature. This illusory struggle against material nature can at once be stopped by revival of our Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This consciousness is the original energy of living entity. When we hear the transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived, and the process is recommended by authorities for this age. By practical experience also, we can perceive that by chanting this Maha Mantra or the great chanting for deliverance, one can at once feel transcendental ecstasy from the spiritual status. When one is factually on the plane of spiritual understanding, surpassing the stages of sense, mind and intelligence, one is situated on transcendental plane. This chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is directly enacted from the spiritual platform, surpassing all lower status of consciousness, namely sensual, mental and intellectual. There is no need of understanding the language of the mantra, nor there is any need of mental speculation, nor any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Maha Mantra. It springs automatically from the spiritual platform, and as such, anyone can take part in this transcendental sound vibration without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy.
Text 4. Does anyone remember what the first 3 verses are about? Or anything about that?
One thing was that Krishna said, all things are in me, but I am not of all things.
That's coming now.
That's coming out.
Yes, this is first Krishna said to Arjuna, because you're not envious. Therefore I am speaking to you. So that Prabhupada explains many times. That only BhagavadGita can only be understood by devotees who are not envious of Krishna. Those who are envious can never understand. And Krishna chose Arjuna to hear BhagavadGita because he is not envious. Then Krishna says that this knowledge is the king of education, most confidential part of knowledge, is the purest and transcendental. And the knowledge can be directly perceived by executing devotional service. One can practically perceive his advancement. And Krishna said, but those who are faithless, they can never attain me, but have to again come back to what? Mritu samsara vartamani. We are now on the path of Mritu samsara, repeated birth and death. So the whole point of BhagavadGita is that we are now entangled in the cycle of birth and death. And human life is meant to get out of that. And one can get out of the cycle of birth and death by understanding Krishna and surrendering to Him. So Krishna is explaining Himself now. In verse 4, these verses are often referred to by Prabhupada. So Krishna says, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of God is not perceivable through the gross material senses. It is said, Tata Shri Krishna Nama Lina Bhagavadgita Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swayameva Spuratyata. Lord Sri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. In the Brahma Samhita it is stated, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokyanti. One can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, always within himself and outside himself, if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude towards him. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible. Here it is said that although he is all-pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by the material senses. This is indicated here by the word avyakta murtina. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him. As we have discussed in the 7th chapter, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, the superior spiritual energy and the inferior material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet one should not conclude that because he is spread all over, he has lost his personal existence. To refute such an argument, the Lord says, I am everywhere and everything is in me. Everything is in me. But still I am aloof. For example, a king has a government which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. That is a crude example. Similarly, all the manifestations that we see and everything that exists, both in this material world and in the spiritual world, are resting on the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by the diffusion of his different energies, and as stated in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna Vyahamidam Krishna. He is everywhere present by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. So this and the next verse describe in essence the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is called Achintya Veda Ved Tattva. In other words, there are different schools of philosophy, different Vaishnava schools also. There's Advaitavad, there's Dvaitavad, there's Vishishtadvaitavad, and Dvaitadvaitavad. And the idea is that there is an absolute truth or God, and then there is everything we see and us. So what is our relation with God or with that absolute truth? So some theorize that we are absolutely one with God. Some theorize that we are absolutely different from God. And some theorize in various degrees, oneness and difference. But the actual fact that's being explained here is that we are simultaneously, at present inconceivably, one and different from Krishna. So Krishna is explaining that. And here basically what is explained is there is God or Krishna, and there is Krishna's energies, which are all pervading. There is nothing outside of God and God's energies. So whatever we perceive is the energy of God and is resting on the energy of God. So Krishna is explaining that although I am pervading everywhere by the expansion of my energies and everything is resting on me, still I am not in them. Another example that can be given is the sun and the sunshine example often given. The sun and the sunshine, the sun you can think of as the source of all energy, the energetic source. And the sunshine is the energy of the sun. So although situated in one place, the sun pervades everywhere by its expansion of sunshine. So sunshine is not different from the sun. Without the sun, there would be no meaning of sunshine. And without sunshine, there would be no meaning of sun also. But still, if one is standing in the sunshine, you cannot say that I am standing in the sun. They are not different, but there is a distinction also. Sunshine may enter the room in the day, and it may make things feel a little hot, but if the sun itself were to enter the room, of course everything would be burned to ashes. So Krishna is like that.
Last time you gave an example like milk, cow milk.
Well, that's an example of, Krishna says in the 7th chapter, that this world is one of his energies. It's called Bina Prakriti, separated energy. So Prabhupada gives the example so we can understand what does it mean, separated energy. He gives 2 examples, maybe more. One is the cow. From the cow we get milk. So that milk, you could say, is the separated energy of the cow. Another example Prabhupada gave is that all his talks were recorded. So when the lecture of Prabhupada is played on the tape recorder, it sounds exactly like him, but it's not him. It's a separated energy. It's separated energy. So the material nature which we are now situated in is called a separated energy. And one way that can be understood also is that when we are in the separated energy of Krishna, we cannot understand or see Krishna. We are separated. Then higher than there's another energy, Krishna says, which are all the living entities, and they are the superior energy, not the separated energy. They are superior energies. They are all the living beings, you and me and so many others. So here Krishna is saying, by my energy, I am pervading everywhere, material energy and spiritual energy. We are also an energy of God or Krishna. And everything is resting on me, but still I am not in them.
This is contradicting what he says in chapter 7, because he says, I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. So what does that mean? Is a super soul in a form of energy?
No, super soul is a expansion of Krishna himself. It's the source of energy, not an energy.
It's the source of energy. So he does Krishna himself, right? The super soul.
Expansion, yes.
But here he says, I'm not a part of it. So it's contradicting. I find it a bit.
Well, of course, it appears in that sense contradictory. Krishna says, but I am not in them. But then Krishna says, Sarvasya cha aham vriddhi sanavishta. I am situated within the heart of all beings. So the distinction is that Krishna says that I am not in them. He doesn't mean that I am not within your heart as super soul, but he means that all manifestations of his energy, such as you, me, or this world, they are resting on Krishna, but they are not Krishna. Krishna is apart from all that. In other words, what Prabhupada points out in the purport, there's a kind of philosophy called pantheism, which thinks that the absolute truth manifests everything, and therefore it doesn't exist separately apart as anything, but everything is God. Air is God, the water is God, the sunshine is God, I am God, you are God, like that. So this is refuting that kind of philosophy. That yes, I am all pervading and everything is resting on me, but I am not in them. You'll not find me there. In other words, you look at the air, you look at the sun, you look at the water, but you will not see Krishna there. I am not in them. Still, he is all pervading. See, Krishna says, by me and my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. I am all pervading everywhere. Everything is in me, but I am not in them. Well, it'll be pointed out that this is a kind of a riddle that it's meant to make us think like we were thinking. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his philosophy is achintya bhedabhed. The actual truth is something imperceivable to us at present. So Krishna is within us, but he is also different from everything.
So can I use this analogy of the definition of truth and true and false? It depends on the perception, how you see it and how you don't see it.
Well, no, that's not accepted here. This is absolute reality. It's not a question of relative truth. Anyway, let's read the next verse, and that will help clarify these questions. First, I will just repeat text 4. By me and my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. This is a little different than the original BhagavadGita. But here, so the interesting thing is, Krishna says in text 4, Matstani Sarva Bhutani. All living beings are in me. And here he says, not cha Matstani Bhutani, just the opposite. And yet, everything is not in me. Purport. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him, Matstani Sarva Bhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired, holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and the space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore, the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yujate Nena Urgateshu Gardiyeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, everything, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact, although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There is no difference between his mind and himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present material mind, because he is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how he is also present personally. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on him. This is explained here as Yogameshvara, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna has said first that everything is resting on me, but then he says actually everything is not resting on me. So this is understood that Prabhupada gives the example that I don't know which culture that came from Atlas, maybe Greek, I don't know. You've seen a picture of Atlas. There's supposed to be some god, Atlas, in ancient times. And you see a picture that he's holding the earth on his shoulder like this. So Prabhupada is explaining, everything is not resting on God like that. everything is resting on Krishna, but everything is not resting on Krishna means everything is resting on Krishna's energy, but not on Krishna himself. For the creation of the material world, Krishna expands himself as Lord Mahavishnu, and he simply glances over the material nature to impregnate material nature with all the living entities. He doesn't directly contact material nature.
Super soul also expansion of Lord Krishna. He is not directly situated. Like Vishnu, 400 Vishnu, situated in the heart as a super soul.
So the next verse gives an example to illustrate this point. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to the supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under his will. By his will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, he is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yad Bija Vata Bhavate. It is out of fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. In the Aranyaka Upanishad, it is stated, Itasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi surya chandra maso vidvidhan tistata itasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi dyavapritidhan vidvidto tistata. By the supreme order under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the moon, the sun, and the other great planets are moving. In the Brahma Samhita also it is stated, Yas Chakshuresa Savita Sakla Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Shesha Teja Yas Yagaya Bhamati Samjita Kala Chakra Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order of the supreme will of Govinda. So from the Vedic literatures, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verses of this chapter. An example in this verse is the earth has the atmosphere and the air is blowing, there are storms, So many things are going on in the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is resting in greater space, but greater space is not at all affected by the activities of the atmosphere. So similarly, all the activities of creation, maintenance, destruction of the cosmic manifestation are going on within the greater energy of the Supreme Lord, but they have no effect upon the Lord himself. But then another very important thing, which was pointed out in a previous purport in this also, is that when we want to do something, then first there's subtle activity, thinking, feeling, and willing. I have some thought, I would like to do this. Then my feelings develop, yes, I must do it, that would be very nice. So then I make a will or decision. I will do this, I will do this, this, this. And then we start to act. But once we start to act, we find there are so many impediments. Of course, to do everything, we need outside help. We cannot just simply perform any activity simply by willing it. But Krishna is not like that. He simply wills something and automatically it is carried out by his energies. Prabhupada gives examples sometimes of just like plant a seed and a flower is coming. People take it as being automatic, just automatically coming. But actually these are all being done by the will of Krishna. But he works so wonderfully that one cannot see how he is doing, because everything is carried out by his energies. This is explained by an often quoted verse in the Upanishads. If I remember it, let me see. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samascha garikascha vishyate. Prasya shaktir vivadhaiva shriyate svabhaviki jnana bala kriya cha. That God has nothing to do. We have to do so many things. We have to cook and eat, and we have to go to work, or whatever. But God has nothing to do. He doesn't have to do anything. Why? Because he simply wills, and then his energies do everything. Prabhupada gives example of it. For example, a very rich man. Even in this world, we see a very rich man doesn't really have to do anything. He just snaps his finger or presses a button, and so many of his energies come, his chamchas, his workers. He says, do this, bring me this. He can just sit there and everything gets done. So many factories running, so many products, so many sales, this, that. He's just sitting doing nothing. So if that's true materially, then let us speak of Krishna. So that is all being explained in these verses here. That we have to understand Krishna in that way. That although everything is a manifestation of his various energies, and although nothing can happen without his sanction or will, still he's aloof, apart from everything. He is in one sense everything, because there is nothing different or apart from him. Everything is a manifestation of his various energies, but he remains himself as the energetic source of all manifestation. So this is the philosophy of simultaneous oneness, and difference. Everything is one with God, but everything is different also. So anyone want to ask any question or any discussion about this?
The profoundness of being one at the same time not. And that's very difficult. I mean, to say the words is easy. To have understanding of it is difficult. And so, what do we do? Do we just say, well, the understanding will come when I'm ready, or do we have to scrum and work to find it, or what?
Well, of course, understanding will come when Krishna gives you understanding. Of course, the natural thing is to think oneself to be different from God. And Madhvacharya, he's always pictured like this. That there's two, God and the living entities. Dvaita, he emphasized more the difference. So, of course, that is how generally we feel. God is somewhere there, and we are here, different. But when we revive our eternal relationship with Krishna, then we will feel more the oneness.
The thought of the oneness is really enjoyable. It's really, really enjoyable.
You don't want to solve. Oneness will finish. You don't have to do anything. You are thinking like that. Oneness means just you want to merge to the Krishna.
We don't have a kind of the hardest thing we have, the best thing that we have is like, if there's someone that we love and we hold them, you know, little days when you just hold it, you feel a oneness, you're not one. You know, you feel a oneness, but it's not one. It's very, very wonderful. No pun intended.
Yeah, in material life, there's a sense of that oneness. Like husband and wife, they might feel oneness, that they are almost like one unit or something. Or like you say, mother and child, and the mother especially feels a oneness with the child because the child has come out of her body. But actually we understand that the mother has not actually produced the child, and the body is not actually the child. The child is an eternal spirit soul, and the mother is an eternal spirit soul. So they're not actually one. But in Krishna consciousness, actually we are a manifestation of Krishna's energy. We are called Divina Ansha. We are separated parts and parcels of Krishna. So we are one in quality, but not in identity. And Prabhupada gives examples of sometimes, like the gopis, when Krishna left them during the rasa dance, and they were experiencing great ecstasy and separation, and they started to play the pastimes of Krishna, and someone was playing the part of Krishna, thinking, I am Krishna. That's also a kind of a manifestation of a feeling of oneness. But we do have an actual oneness with Krishna, we say, because we are his, factually, we are a manifestation of one of his energies. But yes, we must go on practicing Krishna consciousness and chanting so that we can better understand this. Otherwise, any other goal becomes of no use at the time of death. We can work hard for creating some kind of position for ourselves in this world, but at death, everything is left behind. Better to try to reestablish our dormant relationship with Krishna. That's why we are here.
They're dormant.
Means we all have a relationship with Krishna. But now we have forgotten that. So this that dormant.
It's just like sleeping. Like sleeping, but it's not broken. It's still there.
Oh, it's not broken. It's an eternal relationship.
Manjari.
Hmm?
Manjari.
Manjari.
Radha Kunda's Swamiji, Babaji, now they are teaching like that. You are the Manjari, you are some such and such person, you forget just revive your knowledge. And just,
I was just reading on Facebook, Bhagavad Maharaj. It's my old friend, acquaintance. Since the very beginning. But anyway, Bhagavad Maharaj. He was quoting some, I don't remember his name, but some very elderly Gaudiya sannyasi, saying that if you want to understand, it's explaining the difference between Rupa Nuga and Raga Nuga. If you're in the mood of Mother Yasoda or a cowherd boy, then that is Raga Nuga, but not Rupa Nuga. Rupa Nuga means being in the mood of the manjaris. I read that and then I think, I don't need that to say.
like Prabhupada saying, Narayan, everybody Narayan, we are Dharidhar Narayan. Same thing. Manjari, everybody Manjari, but Dharidhar.
Prabhupada saying we are really good at that.
Dharidhar Narayan.
Maybe this is some higher level talks.
What is very good?
Dharidhar means
Poor.
poor.
Oh, yeah, very
Prabhupada just talks about Dalitra Narayan, that Vivekananda. He propagated the idea that feed the poor because he was a impersonalist, that everyone is God, only that we have forgotten that we are God. So even the poor homeless man, he's Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan. But Prabhupada explains Narayan is Lakshmi Na, cannot be poor. Narayan can never be poor. Narayan Das can be poor. So we have been discussing how in this chapter Krishna explains that says everything is resting on me, but then again everything is not resting on me. So it is explained that Everything is resting on God's energies, but not resting on Krishna directly. Krishna doesn't have to do anything himself personally. Simply he says or wills, decides something, then immediately it is carried out by his energies. Just like in the Bible, also similar thing in Genesis. God said, let there be light, and there was light. He didn't have to turn the switch. He just had to say, let there be light. And then his energies. One thing we can experience practically in the beginning, Krishna said, Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam Pavitram. That although this knowledge cannot be validated experimentally, proven, but it is Pavitram, pure, as long as one continues to associate, read or chant BhagavadGita, discuss BhagavadGita, one is in the purified condition. Distinct from absorbing in other kinds of topics, like the daily news or any such thing. If you watch television, this program, that program, or any program, at the end you don't feel purified. Feel repressed. But when you absorb yourself nicely in Bhagavad Gita or chanting Hare Krishna or associating with devotees in Krishna Katha, then you feel pureness, purity. So that was explained by Prabhupada in the recording that Susie played, where Prabhupada said, we are all eternally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our association with matter since time immemorial, we have become polluted. So by chanting Hare Krishna, one can purify ourselves of this polluted condition. We are in a contaminated atmosphere and a contaminated condition. Anything else? Hare Krishna. Lakshmi has a present for you. Piche.
In the beginning, just the two new ones. But the brother and sister, mother told me that they were coming today. But everyone else,
Especially if it's like the keyword, a lot of people are mistakes of
I had something.
I thought it was getting
more equipped than
I thought it was getting fun.
they're gonna get on this mixed up.
It's a shame. Can we get a packet
Never
of
trust a
those?
woman.
Can we buy them?
Yeah, you can get them online.
What is that?
Can you, for like a
Janaka
packet?
Pandit says, never trust a woman.
No, I think
Said
it's
you
better
would find
quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah, or quantity. Because they just look like I would have on hand, you can keep that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is good. Prima, these little chat. What good service to give to people that don't know the chants. So we could have maybe a group of them on hand.
No, not that, but,
You can
we
get
did a lot of
cheap.
work.
Because I told you they're gonna give you some
You always have
suggestions.
Oh, okay.
But you get them, like, I, when we were talking about price, you said you get like, you say 50.
I know.
You do so?
I have to talk to her. I cannot speak for her.
They come in both.
Yeah.
Is it?
Comments.
You also do this.
Once you're-